much you're insured for. If you've got a good insurance company, they come in and they reevaluate. The church mutual does it every couple of years. Use those figures. This has nothing to do with apportionments, it has nothing to do with appointments or anything.
Any other questions? You need to make sure, like Martin was saying, be sure that you have your market values in line and your insurance in line with your market values. That needs to go hand in hand. 54, market value of all other church-owned assets. How many buses do you have? How many minivans do you have? It's not your equipment. Your equipment is included in line 52. 55 is any debt secured by church physical assets. That's the balance of your loans or mortgage or anything like that as of December 31st of this year. What is the debt remaining? 56 is any other debt. Have you purchased a new bus or something this year? Then your debt for that, if you have not paid for it outright, will be listed there. Apportionments, 2.2. Section 2.2, 2.3, 2.4, 2.5 down through line 30, 130 are all going to be filled in by conference. So I am not going to go over those. And the reason being is whatever you put there, it can be anything, and then when they update, it's going to override anything we put there from your request. When the conference does their last update, it's going to override it, so it's all pre-filled for you, and there's no reason to
Does everybody think they can put this in the mail by the 10th of December?
What, their apportionment? I'm sorry.
Well, if we wait, if we're used to, churches would bring it in at the last minute on January the 5th. I would say that if you're one of those churches that plans on doing that it's going to be up to you to go back and put those figures in. Because after the 12th, it's all too late for any of this stuff anyway. So if you're going to be one of those that brings in a check to the district office on January the 5th, I would suggest that you go ahead and go back and put these figures in yourself.
The statements that we will use as far as what you have sent in for your apportionments, district and conference, will be after December the 23rd. That is when conference will do their last update prior to report day. And then, of course, they won't do one again until later in January. But
their update will already been done by the 23rd. That's the reason we want it in the 10th.
Right.
Put it in the mail.
So by the time we hit report day, they should have everything from you guys.
May I say something too? If you are not able to get it in by the 10th, if you're not able to get the conference or the district apportionments in by the 10th, we'll accept them at the office anytime between then and the 5th too. It doesn't have to be on the 5th of January. We'll take them.
If you want the conference to fill this out,
Right.
it has to be in to them.
Before the 10th.
It needs to be in the mail, so they have it in their office to start working on it the 17th of December. That's our plan.
Yes. Any other questions? Line 131, total amount given directly to United Methodist Causes, not sent to the annual conference treasurer. Somebody over here have a question about that? That is where you would put that money. The example that they gave us in our training was from the ground up. You may have given that directly to whatever address they gave and sent that in, and you did not send it into conference. If you send it into conference, it's going to be reported on the other line, on the previous lines that are already filled in.
If you donate to Wesley Foundation, any of those things.
131, yes ma'am. Anything that you did, anything that is of Methodist, but you did not send it into the conference, you will report that on line 131.
It would not include Giddings. There's another place for that.
Yeah.
So that's the difference.
132, amount given to non-United Methodist benevolent and charitable causes. There's your Gideons. If you've done something for your community, line 131, if you've done something for your community and given money and have a benevolence set up that way, It's still through your church. That would be 131.
In 132, we donate significantly financially to the local food pantry, which is not in our church. That's 132.
Where was scholarships?
Depends on what the
There's
scholarship
scholarships
is.
given to students who go to college.
That would be 131. No, because you're not sending, not sent to AC, yeah, that's
That might go
the
under
It
program.
will go to, yeah.
same program.
It's not a program.
No.
You're giving money, you're sending money out.
132.
You're sending money out, it's not a program.
Yeah, so that's 132. That's 132.
Well,
So
if
what
it,
y'all do, I know y'all have lots of scholarships at First Church. Where do you put yours?
If it's a United Methodist School, would it go in 131?
no.
No. Just
You're giving it to the person anyway.
You're not writing a check to a Methodist thing, you're giving a check or money to a person.
Even though you write it to the school and then the person is going to debit it out after, like, if the stipulation is they have to have a semester of passing work and they'll get the scholarship?
I think that's just,
Okay, so
that's
it's so.
splitting hairs.
Okay, that's fine, I think so we're good, correct. 132, okay.
132. All right, here's the compensation, 2.6. All these other lines determine, along with line 25, what your 2017 apportionment's going to be. 133, total amount billed by the local church for all direct bill clergy health benefits. Even if you are billed the total amount due, please only put the church's portion.
It's the church's share, whether they pay all of
Oh,
your
they're not.
insurance or not. We just want the church's share in there. Because especially the large church, it will affect the
It'll
portion.
hurt you.
You just want to know, we just want to know how much the church's share is supposed to be. Whether they pay it or not is insignificant, just what the church's share is what goes in.
It may be significant to the bottom line of the church, but not on this report, okay? Just the church's portion. 134, total amount paid by the local church for all direct bill clergy non-health benefits, that's like retirement. Same thing, only the church's portion. 135, total amount paid in base compensation to pastors, lay leaders, certified lay ministers. All, if they are paid, that is still where they go. That they are not staff. They are in a position as a pastor in your church. So if that is your position or you have one, they still go into line 135. 136, housing-related allowances and utilities paid to or for the pastor. 137, accountable reimbursements paid to or for the pastor. I gave you a couple examples. The pastor travels, or he's going to school, or he buys some books and he turns in a receipt and you reimburse him. However much you've done that through the year is what will go on that line. 138, other cash allowances paid to or for the pastor. You may give the pastor an allowance every month for travel or education or books and expenses, that sort of thing. He's not turning them into you, you're giving him an allowance. And if you read your instructions, they tell you it's better for you to have reimbursed expenses than allowables. It's better for the church. 139, total amount paid in base compensation to all associate pastors assigned by the bishop. You'll only have someone called an associate pastor if they have been assigned by the bishop. Otherwise, they're helping you, but they're not called an associate. 140, housing related allowance utilities paid to or for the associate. 141, accountable reimbursements paid to or for the associate, same kind of thing. Travel, education, books, that sort of thing. 142, other cash allowances paid to or for the associate. It's still better to have an accountable reimbursement than an allowance. 43 is the total amount paid to or for pastor and associates for housing and utilities, and that's lines 136 plus line 140. Some of this is redundant, but it's because different parts of the conference need information off of different lines. So we have to break it down, and then we have to total it up. 144, total amount to the pastor or associates for any other cash allowances, non-accountable. This is line 137 and 141. Again, different people from the conference need different information, so you separate it and then total it up. Line 145, total amount paid to pastor and associates for accountable reimbursements. This is the sum of 138 in line 142. Any questions about any of that? Line 146, total amount paid in salary and benefits for diaconal ministers. I don't think anyone has those, yes.
Does Livingston?
I think she's, I think,
First Church? Bluffton?
You have a diaconal?
Henderson. She's
Yeah,
an
diaconal.
associate now.
Absolutely, okay. 147, total amount paid in salary and benefits for deacons. I don't think we have any in our district. 148, total amount paid in salary and benefits for all other church staff. If you're not the pastor or the lay leader, then, and you're paid, then you're other church staff.
Lay speaker.
Lay speaker.
Not lay leader.
I'm sorry, lay speaker. I'm saying it wrong, thank you.
For certified lay, it's not even lay speaker, it's certified lay that's on your payroll. They would go.
Along with all the program staff.
Youth minister.
Piano player, secretary, youth minister, any of that.
We have a question, we have a kid who you pay with credited, if you wanted to be credited, so much what we pay if he is, not for tax purposes, although he uses his services as a gift, what do you do with that?
Well, that's between he and his CPA.
Yeah.
I agree.
You don't do
You don't do
anything
anything.
with
We
it.
don't put anything.
But if you do something for your church, if you're a plumber and you go into your church and you do some plumbing work for your church, and you say, well, just give it to my, put it on my giving, that's not a tax deductible gift to the church, if you're affiliated with that church. So, that gets into something like, and I know we had some people that did it last year. If you get a bonus, don't put that down in here. You claim it on your taxes. I have discussed this at length a couple of weeks ago with Elijah. You do have to claim it on your taxes, but you don't put it in here because the bonus is because your church likes you. It's not something that the cabinet would use
It's not based.
to move someone in there to take your place.
Right.
And so they want to know actually how much you pay the preacher and what you intend to pay the next preacher. That's what they're assuming here. So those that get a bonus, don't put it, we had one last year that wanted that in with their salary, and it's not based compensation.
Any other questions? All right. Church expenditures, line 149 and 150, please do not leave them blank. We had much discussion at our training on this. A lot of folks on 149, total amount spent for local church program expenses. That's your educational expenses. And a lot of smaller churches say, well, our people go out and buy it, or they buy it and then donate it to the church. We don't really have any of those expenses. If you don't, then use at least 10% of line 150 as your program expenses. Please don't leave it blank.
Well, there, we don't care who paid for it. We want to know what your church,
What is it
what the
doing?
program in Sunday school, we still want to know the figure. Our church went out, our people went out and bought this literature
Right.
and came back. We want to know how much was spent there. It does not necessarily have to be something in the budget. But whatever you spend on Sunday school, doesn't matter who donates it, then we need a figure in there.
They want to make sure that your churches are doing some sort of programs in order to bring people in, to educate the youth, to bring maybe more youth in, because we all know where there's children, there's actually elongation of church life, and where there are no children, then churches sometimes have short-lived places on this earth. So we need to make sure that we do have some sort of church program expenses listed on there. Some of you in the past, what we've taken is a 10%